The arena lights dimmed to a single spotlight as two legends stepped into the ring that night in Hong Kong. The crowd's roar shook the very foundations of the Coliseum as Jackie Chan and Jet Li prepared for what would become the most legendary martial arts showdown of our generation. I was there, pressed against the barrier with 10,000 other souls who had traveled from across Asia to witness history unfold. The electricity in the air was palpable as these two masters of their craft sized each other up for the first time as adversaries rather than allies. Jackie Chan entered first, his trademark grin masking the intensity burning behind his eyes. At 35, he was in the prime of his physical prowess, carrying himself with the loose confidence of a man who had turned pain into poetry for over 2 decades. His approach to combat was unlike anything the martial arts world had ever seen before. A beautiful chaos of improvised strikes, environmental awareness, and acrobatic mastery that made every fight look like a choreographed dance with death. Chan's greatest weapon wasn't his fists or his feet, but his mind. He could turn a folding chair into a deadly weapon, use a ladder as both shield and sword, and somehow make falling down a flight of stairs look graceful while devastating his opponents. His drunken boxing style, perfected through years of rigorous training under traditional masters, allowed him to flow like water while striking like lightning. Every movement seemed accidental, yet deliberate. Clumsy, yet precise. But Chan's innovative style came with vulnerabilities that only the keenest observers could spot. His reliance on environmental elements meant he could be neutralized in a controlled space. His theatrical approach sometimes left openings that a more traditional fighter might exploit. Most critically, his preference for prolonged cinematic battles could work against him against an opponent who favored quick, decisive strikes. Then came Jet Li, moving with the fluid precision of a master calligrapher painting with violence. At 32, Li embodied everything traditional martial arts represented: discipline, speed, and technical perfection, honed through countless hours of Wushu training that began when he was just 8 years old. His 5 consecutive national championships in China hadn't just made him a competitor, they had forged him into a living weapon of mathematical precision. Li's fighting style was poetry in motion, each technique flowing seamlessly into the next with machine-like efficiency. His northern Shaolin forms created a deadly symphony of kicks, punches, and blocks that seemed to anticipate his opponent's moves 3 steps ahead. Where Chan was creative chaos, Li was controlled destruction. His speed was legendary. Witnesses claimed his combinations moved so fast they blurred together like frames of film running in fast forward. Yet Li's greatest strength harbored his potential downfall. His rigid adherence to traditional forms, while devastatingly effective, could potentially be read and countered by someone as unpredictable as Chan. His preference for open combat spaces and formal stances might struggle against Chan's unconventional approach and environmental manipulation. The bell rang, and 20 years of anticipation exploded into motion. Round 1 belonged to Li's technical mastery. His opening combination, a feint with the left hand, followed by a lightning-fast right cross that transitioned into a spinning heel kick, caught Chan off guard. The sound of impact echoed through the arena as Chan stumbled backward, tasting blood for the first time. Li pressed his advantage with a series of precise strikes that forced Chan into a defensive shell. Each blow perfectly placed to maximize damage while maintaining perfect balance. But Chan's greatest gift was his ability to turn disaster into opportunity. As Lai closed in for what looked like a finishing combination, Chan suddenly dropped low, swept Lai's legs, and used his opponent's momentum to send him tumbling across the mat. The crowd erupted as Chan bounced back to his feet with that infectious smile, wiping blood from his lip as if it were nothing more than spilled tea. Round 2 saw Chan take control through sheer unpredictability. He began incorporating the arena's infrastructure into his arsenal, using the corner posts for leverage, bouncing off the ropes to create impossible angles of attack, even using his own shirt as a momentary distraction technique. Lee found himself constantly readjusting, his traditional training struggling to adapt to Chan's improvised warfare. A particularly spectacular moment saw Chan execute a running wall flip that allowed him to land a devastating kick to Lee's shoulder, drawing the first real damage to the Wushu master. The turning point came in the middle of round 3, when both fighters seemed to realize simultaneously that this battle would be decided not by their signature styles, but by their ability to adapt beyond them. Lee began incorporating more improvised elements into his combinations, while Chan started applying more traditional structure to his creative chaos. The arena fell into hushed reverence as these two masters began to truly dance. Lee's perfectly executed Northern Shaolin forms met Chan's drunken boxing style in combinations that defied both their individual training and the laws of physics. Each exchange was a conversation between two different philosophies of combat, with neither able to claim complete dominance. The final moments arrived with both fighters bloodied, exhausted, but refusing to yield. Lee launched into his most devastating combination, a 5-strike sequence that had never been successfully defended in competition. But Chan, drawing upon every ounce of his creative genius, turned Lee's own momentum against him with a move that existed nowhere in any traditional form. Using Lee's forward motion, he executed a spinning throw that sent both fighters crashing to the mat in a tangle of limbs. When the dust settled and the referee separated them, both men struggled to their feet, but only one could answer the final bell. Jackie Chan stood victorious, not because he was the better martial artist, but because his ability to adapt and create in the moment had proven superior to even the most perfect traditional technique. Chan won because he had turned the fight itself into his environment, making the entire arena his weapon. Lee's technical perfection, while breathtaking, ultimately couldn't overcome Chan's ability to rewrite the rules of engagement in real time. In that moment, we witnessed not just a victory, but the triumph of creative innovation over traditional mastery. Both men embraced afterward, their mutual respect evident in every gesture, knowing they had given us something that would be talked about for generations to come.